U.S. basketball star faces possible death penalty in Indonesia over cannabis gummies. Jakarta, Indonesia. Former American basketball player Jard Shaw, once a promising NCAA athlete and international pro, now finds himself behind bars in Indonesia, facing the possibility of a life sentence or even the death penalty for allegedly possessing cannabis-infused gummies. The 35-year-old Texas native, who once towered over opponents on courts across the world, now sits in a cramped prison cell with as many as a dozen other inmates. Arrested 5 months ago in a police sting operation in Tangerang Regency, Shaw's story has quickly become a flashpoint in the ongoing debate over drug policy, human rights, and the treatment of foreigners in Indonesia's notoriously harsh justice system. From college star to global journeyman born in Dallas, Texas, Shaw's basketball career began with promise. Standing at 6 feet 11 inches, he was known for his defensive presence and efficient post play. He rose through the ranks to play for Utah State University's Aggies, where he became a key contributor in the NCAA's Mountain West Conference. After going undrafted by the NBA, Shaw found a new home in professional leagues abroad. In 2015, he joined the Santa Cruz Warriors, the G League affiliate of the Golden State Warriors, before continuing his career in a variety of international leagues. From Tunisia to Argentina, Thailand, Uruguay, and Venezuela, Shaw's career reflected the increasingly global nature of basketball. In 2022, he landed in Indonesia, signing with Prawira Bandung in the Indonesian Basketball League, IBL. After a brief stint with Satria Muda Pertamina, he joined Tangerang Hawks in 2024, a move that seemed to offer both professional stability and a comfortable life in Southeast Asia. But his world came crashing down in May 2025, when Indonesian police accused him of importing and possessing a controlled substance. The sting operation. According to Indonesian authorities, Shaw's arrest was the result of a months-long undercover investigation into illegal cannabis imports from Thailand, where marijuana was recently decriminalized. 10 undercover officers reportedly intercepted a package containing 132 cannabis gummies, valued at roughly £300, about $370, that had been mailed to an apartment complex in Tangerang. When Shaw arrived to collect the delivery, officers closed in. He was taken into custody, interrogated, and charged under Indonesia's strict narcotics laws, which classify cannabis as a Category 1 illegal drug, the same level as heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine. The Soekarno-Hatta Airport Police Chief, Ronald Sapayang, later told local reporters, "We are continuing our investigation to uncover the international drugs network behind this case and to stop its distribution." Shaw was immediately terminated by the Tangerang Hawks and banned for life from the Indonesian Basketball League, a devastating professional blow that was quickly overshadowed by the severity of the criminal charges he now faces. The weight of Indonesia's drug laws. Indonesia's drug policies are among the toughest in the world. Under the country's narcotics law No. 35/2009, possession, distribution, or importation of even small quantities of drugs can result in decades of imprisonment and, in more serious cases, execution by firing squad. More than 500 prisoners currently sit on Indonesia's death row, the vast majority for drug-related offenses. Foreigners have not been spared. In past years, nationals from Australia, Nigeria, France, and the Philippines have faced execution for trafficking or possession. In 2015, the Indonesian government executed 8 people convicted of drug smuggling, including 2 Australians known as members of the Bali Nine. Despite international outrage, Jakarta has continued to defend its zero-tolerance approach, arguing it is necessary to combat drug trafficking and protect the nation's youth. Shaw's case, however, raises troubling questions about proportionality, intent, and medical use, particularly given that the gummies reportedly contained small doses of THC, the psychoactive compound in cannabis. A plea for understanding. Speaking to The Guardian from his prison cell, Shaw appeared visibly distraught yet determined to explain his side of the story. "I use cannabis as a medicine," he said. "I have Crohn's disease, an inflammatory condition that's incurable. There's no medicine apart from cannabis that stops my stomach from aching. I don't use it to party, it just helps me eat, sleep, and function." Crohn's disease, a chronic intestinal disorder, causes inflammation and severe abdominal pain. In the United States and several other countries, medical cannabis has been approved for use by patients with similar conditions. Shaw insists he never intended to distribute the gummies and was using them solely for personal medical relief. But under Indonesian law, intent rarely matters. The simple act of possession or importation, even without trafficking, can trigger the harshest penalties. "There are people telling me I could spend the rest of my life in prison over some edibles," Shaw said. I made a stupid mistake, and now I feel helpless and alone. Life behind bars. Since his arrest, Shaw has been detained in a crowded cell in Tangerang, where he reportedly shares limited space with up to 12 other inmates. Food is sparse, and temperatures can soar during the day. Communication with his family in the United States is infrequent, and his mental health has deteriorated. Friends describe him as a gentle, quiet man who wouldn't hurt anyone. One former teammate from his Thailand club told ESPN, "Jard's always been focused on basketball. He's not some kind of criminal. It's tragic that a few gummies could destroy a man's life." Shaw's court date has yet to be set, but prosecutors are reportedly preparing to pursue the maximum penalties available under Indonesian law. Calls for global intervention. The case has drawn attention from human rights groups, including the Last Prisoner Project, LPP, a U.S.-based organization that campaigns for the release of individuals imprisoned for nonviolent cannabis offenses. Stephanie Shepard, LPP's Director of Advocacy, has taken up Shaw's case as part of a growing campaign to pressure the U.S. government to intervene diplomatically. Jard's case is not an isolated incident, Shepard said. Around the world, people are serving extreme sentences for nonviolent cannabis offenses that pose no threat to public safety. These punishments run counter to international human rights standards. Legal experts have also pointed out the double standard that exists between countries that are rapidly legalizing cannabis, including much of North America and Europe, and those, like Indonesia, that continue to impose capital punishment for its use. The U.S. response and diplomatic limits. The U.S. Embassy in Jakarta has confirmed that it is aware of Shaw's detention and is providing consular assistance, but has declined to comment on ongoing legal proceedings. Historically, the U.S. government has limited influence in cases involving foreign drug offenses, as host countries reserve full sovereignty over their criminal justice systems. However, in similar high-profile cases, such as that of WNBA star Brittany Griner, who was detained in Russia in 2022 for possessing cannabis oil, public pressure and political negotiations eventually led to her release. Whether such an outcome is possible in Shaw's case remains uncertain, given Indonesia's entrenched drug policy and the potential diplomatic sensitivity surrounding any intervention. The divided public in Indonesia. Reactions to Shaw's arrest have been mixed. Some local commentators have called for leniency, citing his medical condition and lack of criminal history. Others argue that foreigners should be held accountable under the same strict laws as Indonesians. Social media in Indonesia has reflected this divide, with hashtags such as #FreeJardShaw circulating among human rights activists, while others push #RespectOurLaw in defense of national sovereignty. The broader debate. Shaw's case underscores a deeper global tension over cannabis legalization. While dozens of countries have begun decriminalizing or regulating marijuana, Southeast Asian nations like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore have remained steadfastly opposed. These countries argue that any relaxation would open the door to rising addiction and crime, despite growing evidence that regulated cannabis use can yield medical and economic benefits. "This case is a clash between two worlds," said Dr. Aditya Harsono, a criminologist at the University of Indonesia. "One world sees cannabis as medicine, the other sees it as poison. Shaw is caught in the middle." Uncertain future. As Shaw awaits trial, his prospects remain grim. Even if he avoids the death penalty, a life sentence in an Indonesian prison would effectively end his career and separate him from his family indefinitely. His lawyers are reportedly preparing a medical defense, arguing that the gummies were for personal therapeutic use. But success in such cases has been rare. For now, Shaw's life is a waiting game suspended between hope and despair. "I just want to go home," he told reporters quietly. "I never meant to hurt anyone. I just want another chance." Human rights advocates speak out. Organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have long criticized Indonesia's drug laws as inhumane and outdated, urging the government to abolish the death penalty altogether. Amnesty Indonesia's director, Usman Hamid, said, "Cases like Jard Shaw's demonstrate why capital punishment must end. No one should be executed or spend life in prison for possessing a non-violent, medical substance." Meanwhile, Shaw's family in Dallas continues to campaign for his release, launching an online petition that has gathered thousands of signatures. Conclusion. A life in limbo. From NCAA courts to international arenas, Jard Shaw's life once embodied the dream of global athletic success. Now, he faces a nightmare that could end in a firing squad or a lifetime behind bars. His story serves as a stark reminder of the cultural and legal divide surrounding drug policy and the peril faced by foreigners who fail to navigate them carefully. As his trial date approaches, one question looms large. Will the world rally to save Jard Shaw, or will he become another casualty of Southeast Asia's unforgiving war on drugs?